At this point, I think it's safe to say that the title Wicked for Good has grown on me. I would have preferred if they called it Wicked Part 2, but I've grown to appreciate the Wicked for Good title. But I also prefer the Wicked Part 1 film as a whole. So, Wicked for Good is the second half of the 2024 musical film, Wicked. Similar to Part 1, this film is also directed by John M. Chu, and it stars Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum. Now demonized as the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba lives in exile, while Glinda resides at the palace in Emerald City. As an angry mob rises against the Wicked Witch, she'll need to reunite with Glinda to transform herself and all of Oz for good. Like I said in my review of Wicked Part 1, I was genuinely surprised at how good that movie was. I am someone who does not like musicals. I don't care for musicals. I don't really go out of my way to go watch them. Given the quality and effort into Part 1, my expectations for Part 2 were relatively high. And with that being said, I thought Wicked for Good was great. I thought it quite literally stuck the landing. Personally, I prefer Part 1 over Part 2, but Part 2 is still a good film on its own. Similar to Part 1, the production in Part 2 is magnificent. The world of Oz has never felt more alive than ever. Think of this beautiful utopia where everything is all rainbows and sunshines. The world of Oz feels like this world that is historically medieval while also being super technically advanced at the same time. From the clever and unique designs of transportation to the fantastical talking animals, this world is majestic. Now, I have seen the Broadway play, like 6 or 7 years ago, so I can't remember exactly what the film changed compared to what was done in the play. Can I just say, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are fantastic. This is the dynamic duo. Honest to God, this is some of the best on-screen chemistry I've seen between two actors since Challengers. Their characters are in positions of conflict. Glinda has to go against Elphaba and push the propaganda that Elphaba is the Wicked Witch that terrorizes Oz. But deep down inside, Glinda knows that Elphaba's her girl, that's her best friend, and she does not want to betray her friend or sabotage their friendship despite the circumstances. But their performances, their chemistry, and their dynamic really did the characters of Glinda and Elphaba justice. Matter of fact, their chemistry is so magnetic, you got alt-right conservatives on their platforms thinking that they're having sex on the low. That is how you know you are playing the part perfectly. Like I said, I've seen the Broadway play years ago, but from what I remember, I think I preferred the songs from Act 1 over Act 2. And in this movie, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I prefer the songs from Part 1 over Part 2. And that is not to say Part 2 does not have any good songs. Oh no. I just find the musical numbers from Part 1 more memorable than Part 2. But the musical note of No Good Deed Goes Unpunished, yeah, they hit the nail on that. That was done really, really well. And of course, with this being Part 2, they're going to bring in characters that we know from The Wizard of Oz into this movie. And it was cool seeing them, for the little bit of time they were on screen. But it was cool. You know what's kind of funny? I noticed how there were some criticisms of people being upset that no one was casted for the role of Dorothy, which I understand, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's a big deal. Guys and ladies, this is an Elphaba and Glinda story. Let's focus on the main characters of this project. I think most people know of the story of Dorothy and how she gets to Oz and all that good jazz and how she gets back. And if you don't know about the story of Dorothy, I don't know what to tell you. Catch up. And the themes of Part 1 and Part 2 really wrapped in well with the overall narrative of Wicked. Part 1 was about friendship, power, and prejudice, while Part 2 was about fighting against a literal regime, and why fighting against propaganda and government oppression should not be seen as an act of evil, but as an act of justice. Definitely not relevant to what's going on today, just saying. In my review of Wicked Part 1, I was not a fan of the lighting, and in Part 2, I'm still not a fan of the lighting. Not the biggest deal, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we could have turned down the sun a little bit. We could have added a bit more color in certain scenes. We could add in a bit more saturation, just saying. And also the whole love triangle between Elphaba, Glinda, and Ferio. Ferio? No, it's Ferio, the handsome guy. I didn't really care too much for the love triangle. I was kind of like, okay, I guess that's a thing. Okay, whatever. I understand why it was there and why it played a part, but I don't know. It didn't really move me like that compared to other people. But in the end, guys, Wicked for Good was good. Again, I still prefer part 1 over part 2. In fact, I think part 1 is a better film overall, and I think as a standalone film, it's also better than part 2. All in all, I was still pretty entertained with Wicked for Good, and I thought Wicked for Good delivered a very satisfying conclusion. So, plugging Wicked for Good. Into the rank system, I am placing this one into the pinnacle zone. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much my review for Wicked for Good. Let me know down in the comments section below what you guys thought about the film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What is a musical that you hope gets adapted into a film? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comments section below. And as always, guys, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all in the next one.